just one day after the Chicago Bears' first preseason game, and the Bears had a practice in which was mostly the starters, and it wasn't good out there. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And the Chicago Bears had a 70-minute practice today. Not too long, so fairly short, light practice, but the signs of the offense still not being in sync were very much there, and that's a huge concern with the Chicago Bears team. Reportedly, from Zach Pearson, this was a light day of practice so far, but the offense never got into sync. There were drops, some missed throws, and bad execution overall with the offense today. It ended on a rough situational drill where the offense was down 3 with 54 seconds left in the game at their own 49 and struggled to move the ball at all in that period. Now, you guys know, I'm one to tell you that training camp is training camp for what it's worth. You're going to hear a lot of positivity coming out of training camp. But the fact that the offense, even in yesterday's preseason game, had some pre-snap penalties, the fact that the starters weren't out there, the starters who had the day off in the preseason game came out in practice today, and it was still out of sync, is some majorly questions when it came down to it. And, and that was just echoed throughout this when it came down to it. The Chicago Bears had a rough 2-minute drill as well that ended on 3 incompletions on that 2-minute drill as well. You just got to have better production than that. So at what it came down to, like, I know that there's still 28 days from the Chicago Bears season opener, and Ben Johnson has been trying to drill to this offense to get in sync and to stop the pre-snap penalties. And this is something that Ben Johnson really prides himself on, is the execution of the offense. Your offense needs to execute at a certain level, and there's an expectation for that. This Bears offense has not lived up to that at all. And the completions, the pre-snap penalties, all those things, man, we're still there for the Chicago Bears team. And this is the ones that are mainly out there. And so, when people say things, as much as I'm somebody who preseason doesn't really matter as much, but this leads credence to the people that are like, no, this team needs reps out there. When you constantly have the same thing, and this isn't doing much for the people and the Bears fans, or even not Bears fans, that have questions about how ready this offense is, how in sync this is. And there's some problems with that one. Caleb and the ones took every single rep today. That's it. Kieran Amagaje and Bear Murray did have limited participation in this. There were no pads or no shells today, for what that's worth. And that's just, again, some serious questions when it came down to it. Now, reportedly, Caleb Williams did have a drill after practice in which he didn't miss a single throw. For those that are looking for some positivity to come out of this, but just overall, the questions, this isn't doing much for questions, and this is why the Bears are practicing less than 24 hours after a preseason game, because you need to get that thing down in this. And it is what it is. Declan Doyle came out and said that the team is back for practice rather than having an off day, and it goes to the time that he spent with Denver under Sean Payton as well. He said that the work will be focused on the starters who didn't play in the exhibition. We're trying to give this a game-like feel ahead of the second week preseason game. And it just, you're going to need those reps. And so if the starting offense was hoping to get themselves anything to get themselves together and try to, avoid having to play a lot in the preseason, this shows that there may be reasons for them to play a lot of snaps when it comes down to the preseason. Declan Doyle is saying this. It's kind of what I exposed to around Sean Payton the last 6 years. We always practice the day after a game, and I think it actually goes back to Bill Parcells. There's this misnomer that you're playing in the game, and there's a really physical wear and tear for all of them. A lot of them took limited reps. So the guys that were under, call it 15 to 20 reps, really they can still go practice today, and they still have a good day. Really, it's geared more towards those starters that didn't play in the game yesterday, trying to give them the game-like feel. Execution is going to have to be a thing. If we are going to operate as the way that Ben Johnson likes his offense to operate, you have to do it through execution. There's just no other way around that. And this is something that it's not the way that you would like it to be this far into training camp. And we'll see. Now, for what it's worth, a lot was focused around the offense. A lot of the talk was focused around the offense. And, we'll see what ends up happening when it comes down to this, but they got a lot that they need to get in gear. Now, Declan Doyle, for what it's worth, also did talk about the left tackle battle, in which he did say that there is some separation, in that left tackle battle officially now, but did not say who's coming out on top, and that it's still very much a battle between Braxton Jones and Ozzy Trapilo. Here's what I got to say on that one. Braxton, if he's going to want the starting left tackle role, is going to have to take this more seriously. And I just don't think there's any other way or conversation that you can realistically have about this. Braxton Jones did not look good yesterday. He didn't look good yesterday. Now, he didn't look absolutely terrible to where you're like, get him off my football field, but he didn't look great. And the fact that even Declan Doyle was speaking on it saying, hey, yeah, there's some separation that's created in this race, but we're not ready to call it yet, is because it's just too early. Now, I had thought initially, my first thought was, this may go into the third preseason game before they officially name a left tackle. But then after it came out that they kind of want this thing done sooner rather than later, I thought that they may, use the first preseason game by then to have that as the unofficial mark, but it's not yet. And, the Bears have, much like the offense still has these things that it needs to work out as far as its rhythm, its timing, its chemistry together. I don't think that you're going to call the battle for the starting left tackle role until that is in a more solid place overall that your team's at. And so the Bears are still trying to figure that out. But it's just, at this point in training camp, the fact that the Bears are still right now, it's a little rough around the edges for the offense as far as the execution standpoint. It is concerning, and we got to see if this is going to get together when it comes down to it as well. Now, the Bears also had tryouts today. We'll see what happens. And then they had 8 defensive backs in for a tryout because of the injuries in the secondary. They had Kellen Barnes, Millard Bradford, Mekhi Gardner, Caleb Hayes, Kenny Lovely, Mark Perry, Benny Sapp, and Jason Taylor all in for workouts for today. I don't think it really is going to amount to much when it comes down to it. I think this is just, of course, precautionary to get enough people in the building during practice and that. When you look at Kellen Barnes, a cornerback, he's 26 years old. He's out of Baylor University. He was a former 7th-round pick as well by the Carolina Panthers. But again, nothing to there. He did run a 4.2 40-yard dash as well in the scouting combine, so take that for what you will. Milford Bradford is a safety. He played at TCU from 2019 to 23. He was not drafted at all, but he was on the New Orleans Saints roster in 2024, where he did appear in 3 games. So there you go on that one. Mekhi Gardner, cornerback as well. This is a guy who played in Louisiana, and he played for the LSU Tigers as well. And he is a 6'2". He was 3rd team All Sun Belt in 2021. He does have a little pro experience, as well as he played 3 games for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023. Caleb Hayes is also quarterback out of Oregon State, and he played in BYU as well. He went undrafted. He did play with the Jaguars in 2023, the Giants in 2024, and the Broncos, and then the Green Bay Packers in 2025. Again, nothing too much to mark up there when it comes to it. I don't think it's anything too serious there. But the Bears did make a signing as well today, as they officially signed Brittan Brown, and they waived Amir Speed. Brittan Brown is a running back. He's one of the running backs that the Chicago Bears worked out last week. Nothing really too much. He that was the same workout that Jamal Williams came out with. He was 2024. He was with the Seahawks practice squad. He did play a little bit with the Las Vegas Raiders prior as well. When you look at his collegiate career, he played 3 years at Duke, 2 years at UCLA, where he had about an average of about 3.5 touchdowns per year, as well as last year in college in 2021. He had 616 yards, 6 yards per carry, and 7 touchdowns. So take that for what you will. These are probably just camp bodies when it all comes down to it. Nothing really too much ado about that. But that's your training camp update for today. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.